wheelchair racer Samantha Kinghorn won 3 gold medals at her first senior competition. The talented 20-year-old broke her back in a freak accident helping to clear snow on her family farm. Samantha spent 6 months in hospital after being told she would never walk again. Samantha's determination has made her an inspirational role model for young people.
When I found out I was nominated, I was quite shocked because I don't do my sport to be recognised. I do it because I love my sport and I want to achieve great things, but it's always nice when people recognise what you're doing as being something great. I started wheelchair racing after I broke my back in 2010, just because I just wanted to find something new, and it came across and it was just so exciting, and I loved it from day one. The first day I ever saw it, I just fell in love with the whole motion, the whole idea of it, going fast and competing for your country was just such an amazing thing that I could possibly be a part of.
I think Sammy's got an important message for people. It's about no matter what happens in your life, that you can overcome adversity, you can make positives out of situations, and she's turned around a situation which none of us can consider how we would have coped with that. But she's made it really, really positive. She's made a life for herself, which is involving sport, but also sharing her experiences and her outlook with young people. And I think that message is important, that regardless of what life throws at you, it's up to you to make something of it. And she's certainly making the most of that opportunity that she's got.
I think the best thing about my sport is going into schools and speaking to young children and even young adults, because people don't understand disability sport. They just they normally think that it's just kind of pastime for people with disabilities. They don't understand that it's a competitive sport. So I love going in and showing them, and once they see my racing chair, they think it's pretty cool, and I show them videos of me racing, and then they start to love it, and that's what I want. I want people to love my sport just the way I love it.
She's not precious about her time, and this is a tough sport, but I think she's got one eye on other people as well. She thinks about other people, and it's not self-centred. It's other people. It's about the sport in general and what good she can do for the sport.
I'll always remember my accident because it's a major thing that happened in my life. I was only 14 when my accident happened, so it's something that you don't really just forget about. I wasn't young. I was an adolescent when it happened. But it's changed me, and I think it has changed me for the better, and it's something that I'm not going to be. I don't want to ever forget what happened to me, because it's something that changed who I am today. And without all the people that were around me when I had my accident, like my physios and my parents, I wouldn't be who I am.
Professor Debbie Tolson has dedicated her life to older people's health. As inaugural director of the Alzheimer's Scotland Centre at the University of the West of Scotland, she is a leading authority on dementia. Debbie's passion for improving services and care for people with dementia goes way beyond her day job.
To receive the nomination, I was absolutely delighted, I was surprised, and I'm still wondering why me. We have become more sophisticated in diagnosing people with dementia. We're trying to take away the taboo of, if you're worried about the illness or possible illness, of actually going to get help. So I think as dementia becomes something we talk about, we understand it happens, and until we get effective prevention and treatments, we really have to find ways to help people have better lives once they have a diagnosis. And when I qualified, still sitting on the fence of not quite knowing what I wanted to do, I took a rotation staff nurse job, which gave me experience working in surgical, medical and care of older people. I had always planned in my mind that maybe I wouldn't do the last placement, which was care of older people, but I did, and I haven't looked back since, because I realised then that this is where I can make a difference. And some of the stories from the patients really made me realise how important it is, and that a nurse can make a difference in the moment of care, but can make a bigger difference by changing the way we think about older people, people with dementia.
What Debbie's achieved since joining this University of West Scotland, this centre, is simply remarkable. I mean, if I explain to you that we think like dementia is one of the biggest health and social care issues that we face of a generation, and there are probably 90,000 people and families living with dementia throughout Scotland, what people like Debbie bring to that is a sense of hope, and hope for a better future.
It wasn't until recent years, about 5 years ago, when my late mother was diagnosed with a dementia, that I really began to truly understand what it means to have dementia in your life.
Debbie's a bit of an unsung hero, and I think it's wonderful that she's been nominated for this award, and I really truly believe that people like Debbie are the individuals that are going to transform the field of dementia for the future.
How can we help? What can we do? And I had thought I could rely on my professional knowledge. And in that moment of crisis, in the emotionality of the moment, I learnt so much about how difficult it is for family carers. And I've brought that into my work with a passion. Hopefully I've got my emotions under control with that. But I really now know, and I appreciate with Alzheimer's Scotland, the importance of listening to what the families are saying, listening to what individuals are saying, of really asking different questions about what matters to you and how can we help you have a better day or a night's sleep.
Every year, Joe Middlemiss and Maureen Burnett make the long journey to Ethiopia to help out at a clinic for women suffering from prolapse after childbirth. Joe and Maureen fundraise all year, taking no expenses, to ensure that every penny goes to the women of Bukama. At the clinic, the two women help out from dawn till dusk, supporting mothers, serving meals and even delivering babies.
When I heard that we were nominated for Scots Women of the Year, I was completely bowled over. I had no notion that we'd been nominated or that it was happening or anything like that. I almost thought it was a joke. But we are completely and utterly thrilled by it. It started off by saying, let's have a Burns night. And that snowball has rolled and rolled and rolled, because the next year I was able to go out with Maureen and saw the clinic for myself. And once we saw that clinic, there is no way we could have made this a 1 year's effort. We just had to help as much as we could. We were totally inspired by the courage and the humility of the women, and the fact that they were living with a condition that they thought was shameful and we knew was easily repairable.
When you see the video and you hear the stories of how the women of Bukama and the villages surrounding it have been changed, these women have literally been outcasts in their own community because of their physical condition postnatal, and also the way in which they're treated by the men folk and the rest of the village. So in essence, Joe and Maureen have given these women their lives back through the medical treatment and the recovery process.
It has been the generosity of other people, and they are always touched by the idea that it's mothers for mothers. And when we set up the charity, initially we didn't have the charity, then we set it up. One of the tenets of the charity is for the education of people in Scotland, that they would be aware of the conditions of people in the other part of the world. So that's really what the talking is about, and also to generate funds.
But what really impresses me is the legacy that they are creating for the EMP project. They know that there are only so many years that they will continue to do this, and so they've brought on board younger members such as Amanda Davidson and Caitlin Dunn, who have gone out to Ethiopia to join the project, and through widening the connection for the fundraising process, we're bringing younger people into it. So it's not just about the work that they've done over the last 8 years. That won't wither on the vine. It's going to continue through bringing in the next generation.
You know, the most important thing, I think, is that they don't care what age we are or where we come from or what we know or what we don't know. As far as we could come from another planet, but we've taken an interest in them. And that's what's overwhelming and humbling. And as a woman, you know, it's just wonderful. There's no question of a glass ceiling. You're here to help us and we love you for it. And that's the extraordinary thing.
For 25 years, Adele Patrick has worked hard to turn Glasgow Women's Library into an internationally respected and much loved resource. This year, the library was awarded national status, and it is the only museum dedicated to women's history in the UK. From unpaid volunteer to director of lifelong learning, Adele has steered the library through political turmoil and economic downturn, never losing heart or giving up the fight.
The origins of the Women's Library are really in the build-up to Glasgow being a European City of Culture, and I think myself and a few other women felt that unless we did something, there would actually, the representation of Glasgow at that time might be the pale male stale representation of Glasgow, and that it would be lots of beards involved in it, and not the fashionable beards of today, but maybe the old school beards. So we just sort of thought, you know, Glasgow and Scotland has got such an incredibly fabulous, rich number of women in its history and in contemporary culture as well. We really need to do something to make sure that they're in the frame.
I've known Adele Patrick now for just under 25 years, and I think she is an exceptional woman. I admire many things about her, but I think her role in being a founder member of Glasgow Women's Library and the tenacity, the passion, the drive that she's shown over the past 25 years in her involvement with Glasgow Women's Library is phenomenal, and I think she is responsible for the library being where it is today. And I think Adele would be the first to say, oh no, the Women's Library is successful because of the input of hundreds of women, and that's true, but I think it's important that her role as a pivotal leader and figurehead within the organisation during that time should not be underestimated.
There's a story almost behind every book that's been donated, every item in the archive, every museum object. So it's almost like accidentally we've created something that is a unique organisation in the UK. But again, it's very much a collective endeavour.
She's very modest, she's very, understated. But what I love about Adele is that she's got the kindness, the generosity of spirit, the loveliness actually, the fun, but also she's formidable and she's no pushover. You know, she has got the drive here. The way that she works in this team, the leadership that she shows, I think across the staff team is incredible, and if you ask the staff team and the board here to give words to describe Adele, the words are just wonderful.
I'm proud of the longer term impact that this project is having on people's lives, including my own, so.
In 2013, Corinne Hutton had her hands and feet amputated after suffering septicemia. Since then, Corinne has dedicated every spare second to help others. As well as running the charity, Corinne has raised tens of thousands of pounds and recently became the first female quadruple amputee to conquer Ben Nevis.
The charity was set up originally, I guess, to help me, and I found that very hard to sit on my shoulders. I didn't want to be needy, but the reality was I did need help. And the only way I could cope with it was to think that I would turn that around to help other people. So with Find Your Feet, we try to help other amputees.
Since Corinne's illness, she has displayed such bravery and positivity that I've never seen in anybody, and I don't think many people would be able to display, having been through what she's been through. Nothing is too big a challenge for her, and she's always so ready to help other people that have fallen on hard times or suffered illness the way that she has. And I think she's just become a role model to so many people, a role model that didn't exist before.
I go to see people straight after amputation in hospital if they would like to see me and if they think it would be helpful. You've got to be a bit careful. I'm never very sure what that does for people, but I've been told it just gives them a little bit of hope.
When I heard about Corinne, that she was in hospital and dealing with the effects of what had happened to her, her bravery was just outstanding. It really struck a chord with me, and I just thought I want to meet this woman and find out more about her, and obviously it led to me working with her at the charity.
I thought I wanted to help people like me. In actual fact, there's an awful lot of people who, following amputation, don't get prosthetics, don't get legs, can't walk again. And really at that point, there's not very much rehabilitation can be done. And I'd ask the question, what happens to them? And really they get sent home with a wheelchair.
Corinne is a very, very kind, generous person. When she meets other people who have been through what she's been through, she's very quick to offer words of kindness and encouragement, but also just to be an ear, to listen to what they're saying and what they're feeling. She's able to say, well, I've been there, I found it this hard, but I've managed to get here, which I think it provides great strength to people.
I'm very proud of Finding Feet, the girls that I work with that do so much more than they're paid to do, and we all really enjoy our work and we all really see the benefit now, and that's a lovely thing to do. So I'm very proud of Finding Your Feet. For everybody that helped me get there, I constantly feel grateful to them, but I feel I need to show them as well that what they did for me made such a difference, that I'm passing that on, and I'm really trying to make sure that they gave me a legacy that I can pass over. Yeah, there's only so many times you can say thank you, but I had such a good network, and I just want to be that network for other people.